everybody. Merry Christmas and welcome to the Hallmarkies podcast. We are here to do one of our ranking episodes. And this week we are talking about modern Christmas movies. And when I say modern, I'm talking about post 1970 onward. And a lot of people got real upset about that definition. That's not modern. It just means it's the first 50 years were our classic episode, which we posted, and it was a lot of fun. And then the next 50 years are the modern episode. That's the way it made sense in my brain. That's what we're doing. But we're going to talk about a lot of really fun movies. And I'm film critic Rachel Wagner, and Terry's here.
Hi.
You ready for this?
I'm ready. I'm more than ready.
Yeah. All right. Here we go. And if you want to participate in these rankings, and you think that we always have bad suggestions, then check out the Patreon, and I'll be definitely sharing some of their favorites and their picks as we go along. So, all right, let's dive in. Let's talk about our number 12. What do you have, Terry?
Well, I decided to go bold with my choices. I went with Gremlins
yeah,
as my number 12.
It's one of my favorites. I really
Yeah, so Gizmo's adorable. Of course, it is set at Christmas because Gizmo is a Mogwai, and his dad foolishly buys him to give to Billy as a Christmas present. And of course, none of them follow the three rules, which is like no sunlight, don't expose them to water, and don't feed them to midnight. Of course, they break every single one of those rules, and madness ensues. Yeah. And then you have spawning off, really mean mogwais, and Phoebe Cates tells this brutal story. I'll never forget, about her dad dying in the chimney because he was playing Santa. Do you remember that, Rachel?
Yeah. Yeah.
When she talks about how she doesn't like Christmas, dark. It's because he died. Yeah, it's dark. It's like a dark movie, but it's bonkers, it's wild, yeah. And it's a lot of fun, and it's just it's one of those 80s creature features that I don't really think of it as a horror movie, though. I think of it more as a fantasy movie. Mm-hmm. But I know people think of it as, I know it falls into the horror genre, but it's just a lot of fun. And I was like, I'm going to put this on this list because I think people forget it's a Christmas movie.
Yeah, it definitely is a Christmas movie. I mean, in all ways. I mean, everything, there's snow everywhere, and the whole thing is a Christmas gift. And with Phoebe Cates' dad getting stuck in the chimney.
Man. That is something that I'll never forget. That stuck into my brain. She's like, yeah, that's why I hate Christmas. I was like, girl.
Yeah, that was a tough cut for me, but I do really like it. Number 12 for me is The Year Without a Santa Claus. So we didn't have, neither of us had any Rankin Bass on our classics. And this is my favorite Rankin Bass.
Same with myself. Yeah, I think it's the best one too. Yeah.
It's got such a good bop in the hey, Mr. Hey, Snowmeister. Hey. Yeah, it's a great, and then the Firemeister, his song is also good. And of course you got that stop motion, and it's a creative story. It doesn't lean as much into we're trying to be eccentric like so many of the others. It's just a good story. Yeah. And I have that at 12.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's another one where Santa's having a day.
Yeah. This list is very animation heavy for me. And so people can tell that I'm a big animation fan. Obviously.
I will say this, that some of these modern holiday films just don't hold up. Mm-hmm. And that was a struggle for me. I was like, I don't like a lot of these holiday movies. Mm-hmm. So this one was like, and that's why I went a little offbeat with mine. Yeah. Because, I was like, do I just play it safe or do I go wild? So I decided to go wild.
All right. What do you have at 11?
Ish. 11, I have The Polar Express.
Okay.
Now, I know people have feelings about this movie. Yeah. I know. But the year it came out, we saw it in the theaters, and we were not feeling the holiday spirit. We were all miserable. We sat down, we watched that movie, and we left the theater like, let's go put up a tree, let's go decorate it. It just gave us that love of Christmas back, that excitement. It just did
Hmm.
something. And I didn't know people hated this movie so much until a couple of years ago when I started reading everybody's reviews. But like, I don't even care about any of that. I just
Yeah.
think that the spirit of it, these little kids on a train going to Santa, making friends and having their adventures, like
Hmm.
it's just a lot of fun,
Yeah,
you
I
know?
understand the complaints about the motion capture animation, but
Right, yeah.
it's enough of kind of a fantasy for me that I get used to it. I'm fine with it, and the music is so good. It's very,
Exactly, yeah.
wonderful, and it has like a whimsy to it and a charm. So it's I really do enjoy it too. And
Yeah.
for me, for number 11, I have Mickey's Christmas Carol at number 11.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I
See,
it's a
here's the
really
yeah.
it's fun because you don't have that often when the characters are playing other characters. So it's like as if they were
Right.
casting a play and they cast, so it's not Mickey Mouse, it's Mickey Mouse as Bob Cratchit. It's
That's yeah.
I mean, and how brilliant to have, I mean, they have Scrooge McDuck, I mean, playing Scrooge. I
The perfect casting.
ideal.
This was a hard cut for me.
Yeah.
This one was a hard cut for me because I do have a version of A Christmas Carol on here. And I was like, I can't have two versions on
Mm.
here. So this was a hard cut, but it is delightful. It's
Yeah.
a half hour, right? It's
Yeah,
about
something
20
like
minutes.
that.
It's great.
And
Goofy
I
as Marley,
yeah, I love that. I do have two versions of Christmas Carol on my list, and but yeah, I love, and he's just that the only raise that he's given Cratchit is for doing his laundry.
Oh
And you
man,
see in
no. He's
they're like,
uh,
what about that pot boiling in the or the oh, that's your laundry. And
what a miser.
yeah, great nice animation. I mean, it was it was really the
Totally.
peak of Disney until the Little Mermaid for the 80s. The 80s was rough
Oh yeah.
for Disney. And But I even loved the music. Oh, what a merry Christmas day. Yeah, and
It's great.
so yeah, I love it. And
And if you watch it on Disney Plus, it's the restored version. They
mm,
restored it. So
yeah, and it does get pretty dark at the end. I mean, that's pretty scary for,
yeah,
little kids with Scrooge in the
yeah.
grave and, everything. And I'll change. And so what do you have at 10?
I have the holiday,
Mm-hmm.
the with Kate Winslet and Cameron
Yeah,
Diaz and Jude Law, and like so many people.
it's fun.
But basically, Kate Winslet and Carmen Diaz switch homes. Like I forgot
Yeah.
what they call that.
Yeah. It's like a
I don't
house
even know. Is that
swap.
in anymore to switch homes? Yeah,
I don't
house swap. Is that
even
even in
know.
anymore?
I don't know if
I
that's
don't know.
still
It
a
was
thing,
in when this
but
movie was made. Yeah.
yeah, it's like
And so like
Airbnb,
she goes to
but
England.
they switch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She goes to England and Kate Winslet goes to LA. And of course, Cameron Diaz gets really lucky because she hooks up with like Kate Winslet's brother, Jude Law. And
Yeah.
Kate Winslet ends up with Jack Black.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm putting it out there. Nothing
But he
against Jack Black, but come on.
but
She went from
he's
Rufus to
very
Sewell
charming though.
to Jack Black.
That scene at the
He is. He actually is
Blockbuster
very charming in the
is
movie.
really good.
Yeah.
Because he's
There's so many people cameo because Cameron Diaz cuts trailers.
mhm.
So we have so the movie has those trailers, like the trailers that she's cutting, and there's like what is it, Lindsay Lohan? There's so many cameos in this movie, and it is a
Mhm.
delightful. It is a little too long though.
I just
It's just a
like
tad too
I like the
long.
Kate Winslet side much better than the Cameron
I
Diaz
agree.
side.
I enjoy that side better. Yeah.
And when the old man, he says that you're the playing the best friend when you should be the leading lady in your life. Like that is
Yeah.
such a good line.
Yeah. It's sweet. Yes, her storyline is much better. Cameron Diaz is freezing over there in England, and she's enjoying the sun. I love too, like she was her fascination with the blinds, like when they turn on and off.
Oh yeah.
In Cameron Diaz, like multi-million, schnazzy house, and she's like, oh my gosh, This is incredible. You know, because
Yeah.
she's dealing with freezing pipes in England in her nice little cozy cottage, which is beautiful as well. But
Hmm.
yes, it's a fun movie. You know,
Yeah.
it's this definitely has gone on to like the classic status,
Hmm.
of people like a modern day, like people go back and look to the holiday. People love it, enjoy it, and
Yeah.
it's got its charm to it.
Yeah. My number 10 is my horror entry in this ranking. It's where I have Anna and the Apocalypse. And this is a very creative movie. It's a zombie movie. It's also a musical and it's also set at Christmas. And
I've never
I
seen this one.
yeah, it's a movie that I feel like should be a cult classic. I don't think it's quite gotten there yet, but it feels like something that would be a cult classic. But I really like it. I think that it's a very effective zombie movie. I was definitely surprised some of the characters that were taken that I was not expecting. You expect certain people to survive and certain people to get taken by the zombies, and so that was surprising. And I love the songs, and it's just fresh. And if you're needing to shake up your holiday watching and just something totally different, then this is it. But it's all done with a lot of heart. It's very entertaining, and yeah, it's great. I love it.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah. Ho, ho, ho. We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies Patreon.
Do you love Hallmarkies podcast, especially at Christmas?
Do you enjoy the holiday previews, recaps, interviews, and bonus episodes?
If the answer is yes, please consider supporting the Hallmarkies Patreon. We need your help to do what we do both during the Christmas season and all year round.
But not only do you help a podcast led by strong, independent women by becoming a Patreon, you get to become a part of the Hallmarkies family.
Starting at only $2 a month as a patron, you will have access to our Facebook Patreon group where we talk about the movies, shows, and more all year.
We also have many monthly patron watch-alongs with guests like Lacey Chabert, Natalie Hall, Paul Campbell, Mary Lou Henner, and more, giving their behind-the-scenes details of their films.
As a patron, you also have the chance to provide input into the podcast and even join us at different tiers.
So this Christmas season, spread some cheer to the Hallmarkies Patreon and become a member today. You won't regret it.
Go to patreon.com/Hallmarkies to learn more.
That's patreon.com/Hallmarkies. You have it 9.
I have Love Actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I struggled with this one. I put it on because there's only a majority of the storylines I like. It's about a bunch of people, I think 8 or 9 people.
Yeah.
And they have slim connections with each other, their friends or whatever. And a lot of it is depressing and it doesn't really end well. Like Laura Lilly and
I'm like, why
her
can't she
brother
have
who
the
is
guy
ill.
and help her brother?
Yeah, and so like I mean, it rings a little bit more realistic, but that sounds sad. And Alan Rickman and Emma Thompson are great.
Yeah.
And when Emma Thompson, because she thinks she's getting that necklace, and she opens
Yeah.
up that Joni Mitchell, and the way she cries in the room and just covers it up.
Yeah.
I mean, because
So
that's a
good.
marriage,
So
those are
good.
things you have to take. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
Alan Rickman, you dirt weller, like how dare you? And I don't like the Hugh Grant stuff
Oh, yeah.
storyline in this movie. Oh yeah, he dances, whoopee. But that's a part that I don't like.
uh,
And then of course the stalker. When Keira
Colin
Knightley's
Firth.
getting married, he's in love with his best friend's woman. No, Colin Firth
Yeah.
I actually like too. I have a really funny story with this. Because he falls in love with a Portuguese maid. Now I watched this movie. We rented it. And there are some things in this movie that, depending on how your relationship is, your mom is, or how conservative,
Uh-huh.
even if you're a grown adult, you just don't watch certain things with your mom.
Right.
So we were like crouching down in a corner, like, oh no, full grown adults, Rachel,
Yeah.
full grown adults.
You forget about
We're hiding from our mom, and
you forget about the
yes,
porn
the porn
actor
side of
plot.
it too.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh boy. And well, they're stand-ins. They're not porn stars, they're
Yeah.
stand-ins for the porn stars or whatever. But but there's a part, and we were very excited because we're all Portuguese, and we were like, "Yay, there's Portuguese actors in this." And we look over, And a former friend of ours is reading the subtitles. And I had to pause the movie and I was like, "Are you reading the subtitles? You understand what they're saying?" And she was like, "I can't help it. I need to read the subtitles." And I was like, "But you understand what they're saying. You don't need to read the subtitles."
I watch most things with the subtitles on just because of what I'm used to. But yeah,
And I know,
you
but it's like,
understand the
I get it too. It was
language.
so funny
That's
because I could
funny.
see her eyes. Like we were all like, because they go to like a little, yeah, because then he flies to France and there's a section in France which is called Little Portugal, which has it's like basically Little Italy or Chinatown in New York,
Uh-huh.
section of Portuguese people there. And they're all, and he's finally learned Portuguese and he's talking to her. And I could see her eyes reading the subtitles. And I was like, hold up,
That's funny.
you understand what they're saying.
You speak
Very
the
good job,
language.
Collinsworth.
That's funny.
You speak the language. It's just that's a memory that I will always
Yeah.
associate with this movie. But I very good job on Colin Firth's Portuguese.
Mhm.
I will give him that. Yeah,
Well, number 9
yeah and
for
uh,
oh,
I'm
go
sorry. I
ahead.
was gonna say the touching story with Liam Neeson, with his
Yeah,
stepson and
it's
his
cute.
wife dies, and just them
Yeah.
bonding together, and becoming a family.
Yeah, and you've got the Christmas lobster.
Yes.
Nativity Christmas lobster. My number 9 is where I have Elf, and I would include
Oh,
both
I have that much
this.
higher.
Oh, I'd include both the live action, and there's actually a really lovely stop motion animated version of Elf.
Yes, I've never seen that one. I know
Yeah,
it exists, but I haven't
it's
seen that.
it's good. I think it's the same songs from the Broadway musical. It might be different, but it has songs. And it's a really solid little stop motion animated special. And I mean, this was just like ideal Will Ferrell casting, and the idea of
Totally.
sort of the super confident, very naive, fish out of water kind of situation is just so funny and sweet. And James Caan as as
Oh,
his dad is
perfect. Like you
hilarious.
wouldn't think about it,
Perfect.
but
Yeah.
perfect. It's
Yeah.
so grumpy. And just Will Ferrell's excitement, Santa is
Yeah.
coming, and then he's like, "You are a liar." Like this is
And I think
when
what
he melts
makes
down and says, "It's a den
yeah,
of lies."
yeah, I think what makes it work is that Will Ferrell plays it completely straight. There's never a sense of like,
Yes.
I can't believe I'm playing an elf. Like, no, he totally owns the character. And I love when he goes into the coffee shop, the world's greatest coffee. You did it. So funny.
The
Uh,
childlike enthusiasm that he
yeah,
has.
yeah,
And like, "You're my dad." And he's like, "Get out of
yeah.
here." He's
Somebody
like,
brought it up the other day that basically Elf and Enchanted are the same movie, but one is
"Oh,
with
oh, you know
a
what?
woman and
Kind
one
of,
is with a
yeah.
man. They're both
You're
the
right.
naive but confident fairy tale creature who stumbles into New York City and
Yeah. I do like too the homage that they have to Rankin Bass with the stop
oh
animation that they
yeah.
have in the movie too when he's leaving the North Pole, and the Keebler elves setting their tree on
Oh
fire.
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
there's a lot of stuff in this movie.
And
The snowball fight, it's ridiculous.
he only made like 850 exosketches.
As good, he was a failure as an elf.
Yeah.
Oh, but when he's crouching down trying to take a shower, I
Yeah.
love that. Like
Yeah.
they really
And Ed Asner, great Santa. Really good Santa.
right, and it's
Yeah.
like it's so great. It really is. It's just to me, I can't believe how beloved. First of all, I can't believe how old this movie is because I took my goddaughter to see it when she was 3, and she's
Hmm.
like 20 something. She's 26 now or 25, and so it's like all the years that have passed by, but it has become an instant classic, and it's just because there's just it's like that naive juvenile, like you feel like a kid when you watch it. You feel like
Yeah.
you're Will Ferrell in that movie. So it
Hmm.
translates really good like that. It
Yeah.
gives you a good
And
feeling of joy. But the way he eats spaghetti in that movie is disgusting.
yeah.
What is it? Spaghetti and soda?
And
Yeah.
more syrup. With
Oh
it,
God.
the food groups are syrup, sugar, candy, Yeah, it's great. And Peter Dinklage, hilarious. He's really good.
Oh,
The author.
I can't believe they got away with that.
Yeah.
That they got away with that joke.
But
Like, you're an elf? And I just remember going, oh no, they did it. And, but they made it work. So
yeah.
they made
What
it
do
work.
you have at 8?
At 8, I have Die Hard.
Yeah.
Now, I know people debate this, but it's literally set at Christmas. He's going to a Christmas party.
Yeah.
He's flying from New York to Los Angeles because his marriage is in the shams, and he's going to spend the holidays with his estranged wife and his kids.
Yeah.
And he gets there, and his wife is at a holiday Christmas party that Alan Rickman takes home. So it is a genuine Christmas movie. I know people fight about that it's not, but it is. And of course, John McClane in this particular movie is it's like just a regular cop who has to like overcome all that stuff and take down these terrorists who are taking over this Christmas party and holding everybody hostage. And it's great. It's got a great supporting cast, and it's a very 80s, which I love.
It's a great movie. It's all centered on just the dynamic between these two people, between Alan Rickman and Bruce Willis. And you really do believe that Alan Rickman could win. Like they.
Oh, he is like, so menacing.
Yeah, I mean, this is a weird analogy, but it's like kind of like in Pride and Prejudice, where that they are going to get together in the end, but like when she refuses him, you like kind of think, oh, this could not happen. Like, it's so convincingly done,
right?
And it's kind of the same way here. Like, you never think to compare this to, but just in the sense that like it really feels because Alan Rickman's character is so smart. He's ruthless and will do whatever it takes, and so it makes sense, and it absolutely is a Christmas movie. The whole reason that he is in LA is for Christmas. He's trying to save his marriage.
Totally, yeah. He's spending the holidays. Yeah,
the heart of what Christmas is family and relationships, and I mean, he says "ho ho ho" at one point. I mean, it's all at a Christmas party.
It's great. Yeah, it's great, and like you can really feel it, like when he's got the glass in his foot, like the pain that he's suffering. Like you really feel it. And this movie made Bruce Willis a star. I mean, he was already kind of a star because he had Moonlighting, but like he became a sensation. This was Alan Rickman's first role, I think, like movie role.
Well, and it's just such a good example.
Great movie, great villain death as well.
Yes, and that you can have an action movie that's just two people in a building. That you don't need all these. Yeah. You look at something like some of these Fast and Furious and whatever that, and over the top. They're going to space and stuff, and you're just like, what? And here you have it's just a tight, simple,
it's just
story.
Yeah.
Well, my number
that many
8,
people have tried to recreate.
Yeah, absolutely. So my number 8 is where I have Last Holiday. And I love movies about kind of work and what motivates us in our work. And I almost had The Apartment on here, but I just don't feel like it just doesn't feel like a Christmas movie to me. It feels like a New Year's movie to me. And
I agree.
But this one I think is more like firmly in the Christmas camp. And it does have Alicia Witt in this movie for Hallmark fans. But it's just a really lovely story about this woman who she is misdiagnosed, find out she thinks she only has a couple of weeks to live. And so she decides, you know what, I haven't been living my life and I'm going to actually live my life. Like she'd make these fancy meals and then we'll eat lean cuisine. And just this job that she hates. And Coolio is her, LL Cool J is her boss. But she really he's her supervisor, and then there's like the head boss who's terrible, and so she goes over to, I think it's like Luxembourg or Switzerland or whatever, and just basically spends all of her life savings on this trip, and she eats all the fancy food, and Gerard Depardieu is there's the chef, and she just lives. And there's also like a little bit of a like racial and socio-political, just like a little bit of commentary, because the rich hoity-toity people, including her congressman, can't believe that this Black woman would have this much power and this much influence and this much money. And it's a really well done romantic comedy, good chemistry, but it's just about this woman living her life, and she learns to not put living on the back burners she'd been doing for so long, to actually like be happy,
make some time for herself and be happy. It's a good message, but she could totally sue for that, for being.
I think it's underappreciated. I feel like it's one you don't hear talked about that much.
I do. I think
it's really good. So
I to be honest, I'd forgotten about that one.
Yeah. So what do you have at 7?
All right, here's where you're gonna get dicey, and people are gonna be like, "No, no." But I'm gonna make for my next 2 an argument. My number 7 is Batman Returns.
Yeah.
Because it is set at Christmas.
It is.
Because the Penguin comes out. I mean, he gets thrown in at Christmas. He comes out. He does shenanigans. He's using that parade to try to take over everybody. And he's trying to run for mayor and play for sympathies. And there's the Christmas background. And then Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman. Falling out of a window. And, I mean, it's like, it's Tim Burton. It's his... this is out of the 2 Batman movies that Tim Burton made. This one is my favorite. Danny DeVito is disgusting looking. He's just so disgusting looking as the Penguin, though. Kudos to that, because every time I watch that movie, I was like, oh, he's so gross.
Well, and Michelle Pfeiffer is so good.
It's great. It's great. And she's like super sexy in this movie. And, you know.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's so many people. Christopher Walken in it as I forgot who he is, the bad guy in it, and her boss.
Yeah.
And I just like it. It's like a Batman adventure, going after the Penguin who's manipulating everybody, and riding on giant penguins and giant ducks floating on. It feels very much like a mixture of some of the earlier comic books and the classic TV show mixed in together for this world that sort of feels modern, but not modern, because it does feel very Art Deco. It feels like it's in the 40s, but it's not. And it's a lot of fun. And there you go.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I think it is, but definitely better than 1989 Batman. It has better story. And just Michelle Pfeiffer alone, I think, makes it better.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
a great Catwoman.
I get a little bit burnout on the running for mayor plot. Like, that gets a little boring to me.
Oh yeah.
There's a few things, but it's still, I think it's a overall pretty good Batman movie. We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's author Jennifer Snow and her book A Lot Like Christmas. This Christmas season, in best-selling author Jennifer Snow's steamy rom-com A Lot Like Christmas, love comes where you least expect it. For Jessica Connolly, there is no better place than her coastal hometown of Blue Moon Bay. She has a wonderful family, supportive best friends, and a successful bakery on Main Street. Unfortunately, every time she designs one of her ex-boyfriend's wedding cakes, she's reminded just how unlucky she is with love, and that she's a good luck charm for men to find their happily ever after with someone else the minute they break up. So she's decided to be done with love. Dr. Mitch Jameson is more comfortable traveling the world with Doctors Without Borders than staying in one place. He just needs to survive the holidays in his small hometown before he can leave again. the beautiful, intriguing bakery owner with an aversion to dating might be just who he needs to occupy his restless heart. From sipping hot chocolates at the local Festival of Lights to early morning dessert deliveries, Jessica and Mitch rediscover the spirit of the holidays. But when the 25 days of Christmas are over, will their romance be over too? Adapted as an Up TV holiday movie, readers can catch a sweeter version by watching Christmas Lucky Charm. And you can purchase A Lot Like Christmas wherever you purchase your holiday reads or by using the affiliate link below. Your choice. I mean, my number 7 also is associated with Tim Burton. Sometimes he gets the credit for it, which he shouldn't, because he is not the director, as Henry Selick is the director. And it is The Nightmare Before Christmas. Some people say, is it a Halloween movie? Is it a Christmas movie?
It's both.
Yeah, it's both. I would say that I think I would probably actually say it is a Halloween movie, but if I had to pick, but I do think that the whole motivation for the character is about discovering Christmas and trying to be something that he's not, and how that is like such a toxic experience, that when you're kind of trying to play a part instead of owning who you are. Yep. I think that that's really moving. It's got great music. Danny Elfman, he even does the singing. People don't realize that he's Jack's singing voice, Danny Elfman. Yeah, and I love Sally as a character. I don't love the what's his name? I can't think of the name else. The villain is a little gross.
Is it Oogly?
Oogly, yeah, Oogie Boogie.
No, it's not Oogly.
Oogie Boogie. Yeah, I don't love Oogie Boogie. It's a little too gross for my taste, especially the ending. But the stop motion is just unbelievable.
It's great.
It's incredible.
Those 3 rotten kids.
Yeah.
Who kidnapped Santa.
And I feel bad for Henry Selick, because I think that there's very few examples of somebody who's made it's such an iconic film, and you see it all over.
I know he doesn't get the credit. It's
everywhere, and he doesn't get the credit. Like, it's so unfair.
He doesn't get the credit
because
I missed this because they re-released it for like the 25th anniversary, right? Yeah, I missed it in the theaters.
And Tim Burton was a big thing at the time, but he didn't even write it. He was just was the story guy, the producer, but nobody milks a property like Disney, and so they, Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas is how it was advertised, right? And even though they originally released as a Touchstone release, it wasn't even a Disney release, because it is darker, and it is, and so that's kind of interesting that they were sort of hedging their bets when they first released it, but then of course became huge. And I love the whole look and feel and aesthetic of it is so good.
Totally, it's very imaginative.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So what do you have at 6?
All right, this one I'm gonna fight about. But I put Lethal Weapon. Now Shane Black does not know how to write a movie that is not set at Christmas. And this is not your traditional Christmas movie. Yeah, this isn't your traditional Christmas movie. It is set at Christmas movie. It is set at the Christmas time. We have Murtaugh and Riggs. Riggs is still depressed and suicidal from the death of his wife, and Riggs is always a day away from retirement. I mean, Murtaugh is always a day away from retirement, and he begrudgingly takes on Riggs. And they become fast friends, and they have a fight at a Christmas tree lot. And poor Murtaugh, they always crash into his house, knock over his Christmas trees. Like, his house gets destroyed in all these movies. But I think if you're watching this is a classic buddy cop movie with the background set as Christmas. So if you want to cheat a little bit with your Christmas movies, this one counts.
Yeah. Yeah. I have not had a great.
I know it's debatable.
Well, no, I mean, I think it's fine as a Christmas movie, but I have not had great luck with the 80s comedies. It's just maybe just not on my wavelength. I've reviewed a bunch of them for my Blind Spot series, and there's not very many that I have loved. I didn't love Lethal Weapon. It was just a little. I don't love Shane Black's style. Just a little too a little too crass for me. It's just not my favorite. But I
It's of
didn't
an
like,
era. Yeah.
yeah, I didn't like Beverly Hills Cop. I didn't like True Beverly Hills. I was like meh on the original National
True Beverly Hills.
Lampoons.
Hold up here.
Yeah,
You don't like True Beverly Hills?
I didn't love it.
Rachel, I'm
Oh,
clutching my pearls right now. I'm clutching
didn't
my
love it.
pearls.
I know. I
Clutching my
didn't love
pearls. I'm
it.
gonna faint. Let me
Yeah,
get my smelling salts over here.
that era of comedy is very tough for me.
Yeah, it is. It
I
is of
don't
an
know.
era. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, yeah. My number 6 is another animated film. This one's, I think, extremely underappreciated. It's Arthur Christmas. This is from the folks at Aardman, and it's not stop motion. It's regular animation, but it's such a good movie. It's about this. It's about the son of Santa Claus, and the older son has modernized everything at the North Pole. It's like a military secret ops kind of operation, but the younger son is still like handwriting letters to the kids, responding to their letters, and really believes in Christmas and in what's going on. Well, Arthur finds out that one of the presents was missed, and a little girl's not going to get her present. And so the older brother is like, oh, well, you can't win them all, sort of how his attitude. And he's like horrified by that. What? She's going to wake up and not have a present and not believe. And so he's very upset. And so he makes it his mission to go and deliver this present, and all kinds of shenanigans happen. And I like the fact that the villain, his brother, isn't like a bad guy. He's trying to do his job the best that he can, but he just has lost the heart. He's lost what's most important about Christmas, and just turned it into this military thing. But he's not like a bad person. So I think that's good. And it's got some action, it's got great animation, good vocal performances all around. Hugh Laurie, James McAvoy, and I think it's underappreciated little holiday gem.
I have never seen this one.
Yeah, you should watch it. It's really good.
I know of it, but I have never seen it.
Yeah, I don't know if it's on. Let me see if it's on any of the streamers. Let's see. Oh yeah, it's on Max and Truby.
Well, there you go.
True TV, not Truby. Yeah. So if you have Max, watch Arthur Christmas. I think people will really, if they give it a chance, people will really like it. It's really good. All right, what's your number 5?
Home Alone.
Yeah, I have that coming up too.
The quintessential. People have been reevaluating this movie the last couple of years over how rich this family is,
right,
and their wealth. And I'm like, who cares? Who cares how big their house is? Who cares that they have first class tickets to Paris? Who cares?
Right. Yeah.
That's the least, that's the least of it's a wacky adventure, because in reality, if he would have done what he really did to those robbers, they would have been dead.
Right.
And it's just, I do feel like people are like, oh, the wealth disparity. I heard a review like, it's disgusting, the wealth disparity, and I was like, come on, get over it.
Good grief.
It's just fake.
It's
just, not real.
No. Well, I mean, it's funny too. But just to think, like, what is in this house? Like, why do they care so much? Like, move on to the next house. What?
I know.
Yeah, it's so funny.
It's like, if I wanted to see somebody struggle to pay bills, I would just look at myself, put a camera on myself. Like, I don't need that in a movie. It's like, it's fantasy, fantastical, because because in reality, these parents would get arrested. Like, how do you leave your child behind?
What's
I think
so
there's wonderful performances by Catherine O'Hara.
So when I interview people for the holidays, I always ask, what's your favorite classic Christmas movie? And I'm not kidding. I would say probably 80% of people say Home Alone. It is by far the most popular answer. By far. Is Home Alone.
It's just, it'll live on in infamy. I just think it came out at the right time in 1990. So it is a pretty old movie by now. It's just, and it spawned a dozen sequels and made for TV movies. None
Mhm.
of them could capture the spirit of the original.
Yeah.
I do enjoy Home Alone too, but
Yeah.
it's not as good as the first Home Alone.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to recreate that magic.
Yeah.
And
Agreed.
I have yet to see the remake that Disney did. I don't want to
Oh,
bother with that one.
it's
But they
so
came out with
bad.
it like 2, 3
What
years
on
ago.
earth? What
Yeah.
were they thinking? They make the robbers the protagonists with this like story they need to
Yes.
save their house or whatever. You're just like, what were
Well,
you
villains can't be
thinking?
villains, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
So
Well, I have
it's,
more to
yeah. So,
say
like, yeah.
about Home Alone coming up, but
Yeah.
I love it. My number 5 is
Yeah.
Klaus, and this was an animated film from it's on Netflix, and this was 2019. And so a lot of people probably missed it because it's on Netflix, but it's so good. It's a Santa Claus
I have yet to
origins.
see it.
It's so good. Santa Claus origin story, basically about this. It's the lead is this kind of pompous guy who is he he's never really had to work hard. So his dad tried to teach him a lesson, sends him to be the postal worker to run the post office at this town where everybody's basically kind of given up and everybody's really sad. And but there's this man who is this toy maker, and he's never been able to cope from the death of his wife, and he starts through various things, ends up making toys for the kids in town, and slowly what's so great, I mean, the animation is absolutely beautiful. Sergio Pablos is the name of the animator.
Yeah.
Just love the way the movie uses light and shadows and color, and as the town becomes happier and more alive with Christmas, everything becomes more bright and colorful, and it's just the whole composition of the movie changes, which I love. And so yeah, it's about how not only does the town become reborn, and our lead character it's kind of, the lead character is very similar to like in like Cusco in Emperor's New Groove. Kind of, he starts out real arrogant,
Yeah.
real full of himself, and so you get that journey, but then also this Santa Claus character who is able to kind of come out of the pit of his grieving and do something for his town and the kids especially. And it's really good. Highly recommend it. It's on Netflix. People should check it out.
This is the movie that I'm like, I'm gonna get to it this year. I'm gonna get to it this year, and I never do. Because then by the end of the Christmas season, I'm worn out.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to make it. I'm gonna try to like watch it this year because it does look beautiful, and I
Yeah.
know it was nominated for an Oscar for Best
Yeah.
Animated Feature.
It should have won.
And I want to get to it, so
It should have
it is on
won
my
over.
my watch list.
I like Toy Story 4. I do, but it shouldn't have won. This should have won. It was the better movie. But all right. What do you have at 4?
The Muppet Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
What can I say? It's the Muppets. Kermit the Frog is. I'm sorry, because I love that he's married to Miss Piggy, and all his daughters are pigs, and Tiny Tim is a frog.
Yeah, I love that too.
And how does that work, Rachel? How does that work? But
yeah, I love the Paul Williams.
And I just love it. It's the Muppets retelling. Yeah, Gonzo being the narrator, and
and they bring in a lot of the text because Gonzo's playing Dickens.
Yes,
for a movie for kids, they bring in a lot of the text, and yeah, it's a great version. It might be my favorite non-traditional version, and I think what makes it work so well is that Michael Caine plays it totally straight. He is acting just like he was with any actors. There's not a sense of like wink wink at all. So, and what a brilliant choice of Statler and Waldorf playing the Marley brothers.
Totally.
Marley and Marley.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's great. Well, my number 4 is where I have While You Were Sleeping. And this isn't like a heavy Christmas movie, but I think that like the scene where they're opening presents and she's just like watching them and just kind of taking it all in, because she has never had, even when her dad was alive, it still was just her and her dad. She's never had this kind of like family experience before, and so I think the Christmas is pretty important actually to the movie. And then you have the New Year's scene, where she people think that she's pregnant and all this stuff. But I think that this movie is not only a perfect film, like there's basically nothing I would change about it in that sense. It's so well crafted, but I think it is one of the finest films to examine and portray loneliness. And
Right.
some people might kind of dismiss it because it's a rom-com. Of course, we don't, not on this podcast, but some people would. But I think that there's a lot of real truth to her loneliness. And when she talks about wanting to get stamps in her passport, and how and she tells him, you have no idea what it's like to be alone. And he says, well, you have Peter.
Right.
I don't have anybody. And all of that. And it's also just really funny, and they have incredible chemistry. It's huge. And it's one of my favorite movies. It is just excellent.
I agree. And I always forget it's a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
I always forget that's the setting and stuff.
Yeah. It's one of those ones on the edge, but I think it's enough for me that I count it, because there's some other ones, like You've Got Mail, for instance, which does have some Christmas scenes. I could see someone putting it on the list, which I love You've Got Mail, but to me, that one, it's just about like a year in their life, kind of more, as opposed to a Christmas movie. Whereas this, like, I just feel like it's all centered around those couple of weeks at Christmas, and that scene when everybody's opening presents and she's just kind of watching, she's holding her gift and just kind of watching them all, is really important. And to me, it is a Christmas movie, but more subtle Christmas movie, I would say. But it's such a funny script. They really nailed it.
It is.
And they said they have doctors for this thing. You're cheating on a man in a coma.
Feed that. I know. Oh, when she has to go feed his cat, and she's like, "Oh no."
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Boy. It's great. We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies merch store.
Are you looking for that perfect gift for the postable, Hardy, or Hallmarky in your life?
What about getting that t-shirt or hoodie that will help you stand out at your next holiday party?
Now is the time to check out the Hallmarkies merch store.
Full of festive designs by artists like Jessica Miller, Carrie from Hallmark Comics, and more.
You can even have more than just shirts, but totes, cell phone cases, notebooks, mugs, and more.
And it isn't just Hallmark. We have designs for Anna Green Gables, Man from Snowy River, The Nanny, and more.
Every purchase at the merch store goes to help support the podcast and allows us to make the great content you know and love.
There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies or see the link in the description.
That's tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies.
All right, what do you have at 3?
Elf.
Mm-hmm.
This is where I have Elf.
Yeah, it's so fun.
Which I just think is perfect. And the goofiness of it all.
Yeah, it is kind of bonkers that they have showers at Macy's, evidently.
I don't know how real that.
I don't
know how real that is.
But... so I have a number 3. I have A Christmas Story, and I know a lot of people think that this is overexposed, and fair enough. But I think that the dramatic aspects of the movie are a little bit underappreciated. When he beats up Scott Farkas, I am so moved by that. Like, as somebody who went through my own bullying experience when I was in elementary school, it really rings true. And I just love when he's like, things were never the the same for me and my mom after that. After
Yeah,
she
the
saves
compassion
him.
his yeah, the
Hmm.
compassion his mother has for him at that moment, and she
Yeah.
doesn't tell the father. He doesn't get in trouble,
Hmm.
and just like because she understands when he just
Yeah.
let it all out. Yeah,
Hmm.
they're very touching moments in that movie.
Yeah.
It's my number two.
Oh, good. Yeah. And I still think
Yeah.
that it holds up as far as the leg lamp and the sweet glow of
Oh, that
electric
leg
flecks
lamp.
in the window.
I have an ornament of that, a Hallmark ornament of that leg
Oh.
lamp.
And
I didn't break it too. I didn't break it too. Like, no way, you ain't putting that up there. That's embarrassing. That woman had to deal
Mhm.
with a lot.
Yes, she
Or when he
did.
curses and the phone comes around. Do you know what he said? Just open the mouth.
That is the ugliest lamp I have ever seen in my life. You were always jealous of this lamp. Jealous because I
The
won.
way he touches it and stuff. It's such a great performance.
Yeah.
Such a great performance by him. The
Yeah.
way he like touches it and like
It's a
it's
great,
almost creepy but not creepy because
yeah.
there's a comedic moment to it.
Yeah, it's a great child performance. And I
Yeah.
just said I felt like underappreciated the dramatic parts of it. We all know like the pink bunny outfit
Yeah.
and the stuff like that, but the when he just starts crying after beating up Scott, I think it's a really like a sweet, sincere moment. And I like his fantasies, his flights of fancy when he
Yes.
his teacher becomes the Wicked Witch of the West. You'll shoot your eye.
If she
C
writes down on the
plus.
paper, you'll shoot your eye out. He's so frustrated. What does he do, Rachel? He shoots his eye out. Well, not almost. Almost shoots
Yeah,
his eye out. Then he
yeah.
starts crying.
I
I
shot
love how
my
he just
eye
sings
out.
the thing. It was
Adults
the
are always
dogs.
saying things like that. Kids know better. They know it's always better not to get caught.
Oh, the way Santa boot kicks him down that slide. I mean, it's
Yeah.
great. And how they got away too with that parade. Actually filming because they have Disney characters. They have the Wizard of
Hmm.
Oz in that
Yes.
parade, and nobody,
Right. Like, what are they
they
doing
just get
there
away
at
with that all.
Christmas?
Well,
Oh, yeah, an iconic Santa. Oh, ho,
yeah.
ho.
I'll
So yeah,
shoot your eye out, kid. But I love when he puts his boot in his face to kick him down. It's great.
and as far as like it being overexposed, like yes, it plays back to back on TBS. But you don't have to watch
For a
it. Just
reason,
watch it
though. People
once.
love it.
Just
Yeah.
watch it once. Like I don't really understand that as a criticism. You don't have to watch
Used
it over and
to
over again. Just watch it once or not at all if you don't
just watch
like
it
it.
once. I mean, do they still do that? They still play 24 hours? I'm not sure if they
I
do
think
now.
so, but I haven't checked in a bit. But
But
I
I
think it was
remember, like,
actually I think it was part of Ted Turner's deal in selling the networks. I think he made it like it was.
yeah, I'm not sure if TBS stuff
Yeah, I
because
think they do,
I
but I'm
do
not.
remember that for years we
Yeah,
used to just watch it. Like we pick a random time it was on and just watch it when it aired on TV.
yeah.
It was very much it still is very much a Christmas staple,
Hmm.
and
Well,
it's so great. It holds up great.
yeah. Well, my number two is the Muppets Christmas Carol. I just love it. I and it's so nice. Now we have the fully restored correct version on
Yep.
Disney Plus, and it's so bonkers that they were hacking it for taking out song and everything, and yeah, I mean it's one of the finest things the Muppets has ever done, and it was such an important movie at the
Totally.
time because it's the first
Yeah,
post
because it was
Jim
made right after
Henson.
Jim Henson's
Yeah,
death. Yeah.
yeah, and it's I love the artifice of having Gonzo being Dickens. I think that's really fun and
And
great
Rizzo, his
songs.
forever sidekick. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
After all, there's only one more
Rizzo.
sleep till Christmas.
Yeah,
And
doesn't Rizzo say like all of my thousand brothers and
right.
sisters? There's a part of that in the movie too.
Tremendous family to provide
Oh,
for. The in the recent ones they've been replacing Rizzo with Pepe. Not a good trade. I want
not
back
the
to
same.
Rizzo.
Not the same.
I want Rizzo
Pepe
back.
needs to be in small doses.
Yes.
Pepe needs to be in small doses.
Yes. Yes.
Small doses. We need Rizzo
Yes.
back.
Yes. What do you have at number one?
I have A Christmas Vacation. National Lampoon's A
Oh,
Christmas
okay.
Vacation.
Uh-huh.
It is out of all of those vacation movies, it is my favorite of the bunch. I just love it because who doesn't have meltdowns and things? It's like almost it's over the top, but yeah, when you have to prepare for everybody coming over for the holidays
Yeah.
and you have like crabby neighbors and you're waiting for that bonus for your pool and you don't get that bonus and you go crazy. Were you gonna kidnap your boss? And then you have, of course, you always have those relatives you don't really want, like Uncle Randy, and he's got to come by. And you just have to grin and bear it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just like, and
It's
one
a
of my favorite moments is the lights when he just blinds the neighbors and they flip out of bed and they
yeah.
flip everywhere.
I know.
And
Elaine
it's just
Bennis, early early Julie
yes,
Louise Dreyfus.
and
Uh
it's like it's
yeah.
ridiculous.
I really thought about
I can't remember
putting
which version of the kids they have in this one because they change the kids every movie.
it has Big Bang Theory guy.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah, in there. Yeah, this one's great. I knew you were gonna have it on your list. I didn't know how high, but I didn't have it on my list. I knew we would talk about it. But I
yeah.
always look on this movie fondly because my grandma loved the movie, and I was very close with her, and particularly the scene with the squirrel comes out of the tree. My grandma would laugh so hard she would stop breathing. Like she would be like she'd be like, "Grandma, breathe, breathe." She would laugh so hard. And I
Oh, when
do
the turkey deflates, yeah,
yes. Oh, and but I think the funniest I love the squirrel scene is really funny, but I think
yes, it
funniest
is.
scene of all is when she starts saying the Pledge of Allegiance.
Oh,
Grace, they want you to say grace.
great.
Pledge
They
allegiance
kill
to
the
the
cat in that
flag.
movie, don't they too? Yeah.
They
They kill the
gift wrap
cat
the
in that
cat.
movie. Yeah, oh my gosh.
Gift wrap.
Yeah.
But
All I
yeah.
wanted was that bonus.
So it's a great
Oh,
choice. My number one, I
yeah.
had to go with Home Alone. I had to be with the
Yeah.
crowd. Um, I
Yeah.
part of it is definitely nostalgia. Home Alone was the first comedy that I ever really loved. I saw it with my grandparents in 1990. That I was at a special trip in California with my grandparents. We went to see it, and I died laughing. I thought it was so funny. And I was a kid that I was a very independent kid. I wanted to do my own thing. So the idea of being alone and
Right. Same. Yeah.
not only thwarting the robbers, because that's really not that big a part of the movie. It's only about 20 minutes is the booby
Yeah.
traps and the hijinks and stuff. And it's all the stuff I almost love even more of, like uh him going grocery shopping, and when he steals the toothbrush, that all seems really funny, and
Yeah.
because he gets spooked, and everything with him and the old man is just really sweet. And
It's
uh
touching.
yeah, and I love John Candy. There's a poker player.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
it's so good. And I
Catherine O'Hara is
love,
so good in this movie too.
yeah, I
Like she's
love,
over the top, but you really feel her
yeah.
panic over her kid being gone
Yeah. And
and there's so many people.
I love the John Williams score. I think it's one of the more underappreciated John Williams scores, but it's so good. And I got a lot of course, the keep the change, you filthy animal. And I think a lot of people thought that was like real, and but they
A
shot
real
all of
movie,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, they shot it. It's all a fake movie. And so that was really funny. And it's just very escapist and very sweet and very funny, and it's got all of your Christmas feels, and he forgives his mom for leaving him home alone in the end. And I had to it just it's one of those iconic
It
movies
is.
for me,
I almost
and
forget to because it's so iconic now. I forget that I was a kid when this came out.
Yeah.
I just forget, like, yeah, it was like 10 when this movie came out.
Yeah.
You know, I was a kid, I enjoyed it, I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, everybody wanted that
Yeah.
remember they had the toy of that talk thing that he had? They
Oh,
really made that
yeah.
toy out. And it was such a thing. Of course
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't allowed to get it. Uh,
Yeah,
but
everybody
yeah, oh,
wanted
and
the
the
talk
worst
man.
criminals ever. That's it. And of course they were the worst criminals ever, Rachel.
Well, I was just like, why didn't you just move on? What is so important in this like
So
suburban house?
obsessed.
Like,
Well, I mean, did you see that house, Rachel?
yeah, but like it's just like
It's a
everything in
very
it
nice
looked
house.
pretty.
Yeah, but like
It
right
looked,
across the street was an even nicer house.
yeah, it looked pretty
You know,
like
so
it looked pretty middle class. Like it didn't look like anything super fancy, so just kind of funny. And but yeah,
right.
it's a great movie, an important part of my childhood. And so there we go. I think we covered practically everything
I think so. I think
between
we have a
both of
good
our
mix.
lists. We really do.
Yeah, good
So
variety.
yeah, so we asked the patrons, and so if you want to be a part of these lists, then sign up for the Patreon, and you can be part of our ranking episodes. It's really fun. So I asked the patrons, and Caroline, she says Christmas Vacation, Elf, Christmas Story, and the Santa Claus. Becky Shimmer says the Family Stone, Elf, A Christmas Story, and Christmas Vacation. And Amber Sire, she says I actually haven't seen hardly any of these, but I did like Love Actually. So there we go. That's our patrons.
I've
And
never
so,
seen The Family Stone. I know people love that movie.
yeah, I don't love it, but it has a devoted
Yeah.
following.
I know
So,
they changed couples in that movie too. I know, but I've
yes.
never watched it.
Spoiler
Sorry,
alert, as
Diane
they say.
Keaton. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's not my like that family shenanigans is not usually my favorite, but
Yeah.
it has its moments. I understand why people love it. They love it. It's just it's not my favorite. But yeah, let us
Yeah.
know your picks. We'd love to have your answers in the comments or on Twitter. And Terry, where can people find you?
Flurry Heaven at Twitter
Great. And you can find me at
or on
Rachel's
Twitter.
Reviews, all over social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. So check that out. Also, make sure you're following the podcast at Hallmarkies Pod and Hallmarkies Podcast, all over social media. And if you are listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews. We really appreciate that so much. And if you are listening on YouTube, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. We appreciate that so much. We also have our Patreon group, which is the best way you can support us. And you get weekly exclusive reviews. You get our watch alongs. You get a lot of perks in our Facebook group, all of that. So please check out the Patreon. And then we have our merch store where we have a whole bunch of new festive designs and the perfect place to get the gifts for the Hardy Hallmarky Unpostable in your life. So check that out. And thanks so much, everybody. And we'll wish you all a very Merry Christmas. Bye.
Bye.